Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. I'm Jade Harrell and I'm joined by Ivy Hardman, Jamie Valentine Dolby, and Amber Clear. Welcome back.
Here we are.
Yes. Are you auditioning for a musical?
Yes.
I hope I would qualify, but it's back to school, so I'm singing.
Okay, that's something to sing about. There's something to sing about with that.
You know, true. As long as the air conditioning's working and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I've been walking around like everywhere I go. If I walk into church, I've been walking back into work. This is a new school year all for me because I'm an empty nester. I dropped.
Say it again.
And I thought, I'm the person who's like, yes, I can't wait. I won't name all the reasons why I was really excited about being an empty nester. Fine, you can use your imagination. About that first 4 days, I was like, what's happening? I don't think I like it. And it's not about the kids being gone. It's just the
being alone with you.
I don't know what to do with freedom anymore.
Right? Do I even know who I am?
I'm okay with it. I know who I am. I'm ready for it.
Right. She's got discovery.
How much longer do you have?
View. Yes.
A long time.
And the routine has gotten back though, okay?
My routine is I have a very responsible child.
Yes.
And so my kid sets all the alarms in the house. He lays his clothes out. He lays his snack out. He tells me what time he needs to leave the house, eat breakfast. So I really don't have any complaints.
He's from Krypton.
It's his management style of my parenting that I need a break from.
His management of your parenting.
He manages the parenting in the household, and really, he has taught me how to be a good parent.
Shouts out to my baby boy.
I want to tune into those TikToks.
Yeah.
Can you have him give tutorials to all the other kids?
You will want it, and then you won't. I promise.
Right?
So, I mean, I don't have children, but I would like someone to manage me like that.
He would manage you. He would be happy to tell you exactly what to do.
I'm
okay with that at this point in my life. Yeah.
Would that qualify as a space that you're loving right now? You know, I always got to ask. So, is that what you're loving?
No, it's not. I actually do not love to be managed by a child.
A highly responsible child.
No, I don't like that either. I am loving really just being able to be free and stay up, and when he goes off to school and have my me time, and I usually I'm the person that's like walking the neighborhood with the coffee cup.
Yeah.
Now, like I've become that lady.
Yeah.
And I don't know I don't have a destination. I don't have anywhere to go. But I'm enjoying just being out.
I'm sorry. She's got businesses. You're not telling the truth.
I know. It does sound like she's eating bonbons all day.
You are busy,
I know, but I still take a nice stroll with my cup.
Yes.
She's
like,
not pouring from an empty cup.
Well,
Any sense of the form.
I'm filling my cup up with that St. Louis City water and sometimes a little something extra. And I love it. I love it.
Well, I'm definitely loving that. And our next guest has work that she loves, and it is in the fight for hunger in our community, for ending hunger, of course,
yes,
in our community. So we'll meet her in just a minute. But first, we got to take a quick break. So stay with us when we back.
Where's your emergency?
Everyone's on their way. What happened? Your friend's not breathing. She's dead? Yes, please get my mom and dad. Oh my God.
And welcome back to Let's Talk. Our guest today is a U.S. Army veteran, an international best-selling author, and responsible for making sure nearly 500,000 people in our region are fed each year. Please help us welcome the president and CEO of the St. Louis Area Foodbank, Meredith Knopp.
Good morning.
Good. Well,
good
hello.
Day, yes.
Good day.
Yes. Should be saying yes, ma'am.
No, please don't.
That is quite a resume. And I just got to ask about the through line. What connects all of those previous accolades to the work you're doing now? personally?
It's really just been a desire to serve and to give back. Growing up in Detroit, we were always doing things at local soup kitchens and with our church. Joining the military, it was because I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. Right? I wanted to help people that were in situations no fault of their own. And so it's just something that it's kind of been part of my life.
Yeah.
I would imagine as a captain, though, that there's a lot of logistics that you pick up within the military, and that applies somehow to the logistics of feeding 500,000 people.
It does, especially, even as a young platoon leader, deploying overseas and figuring out how to load vehicles on planes and boats and, weapons and ammunition and food and supplies. It is definitely a lot more intricate than you might think. Take that now to the food bank where we're serving, people in 26 counties, 600 partners. It is a very large logistics operation, much more so than when even I was interviewing for the job back in 2017, 2018. I was like, oh, I've got this. I walked in, I said, I do not got this.
Right. And then came COVID. So we do need to have everyone understand what you all have been up to from when you came on board and through that. St. Louis Area Foodbank has been about what mission specifically?
So we are all about ensuring that people have the foods that they need to thrive, right? So we're building stronger communities. We're nourishing people. We're empowering communities. We're transforming systems. But candidly, since I joined, we've had 2 floods and a global pandemic. Right. So we have been very busy, meeting people when they need us most.
How do you do that?
And so we do that in a myriad of different ways. The first way is that we're sourcing food. And so we're bringing food in literally from all over the country. But we really want to focus in on our local farmers, our growers, our grocers, our manufacturers, our distributors. We bring all that food to our location in Bridgeton, and we have tens of thousands of volunteers every year. We are very blessed that come out there and they take all of this food and they repackage it, or they go through it if it's a food donation to make sure that it's safe, right? We want to make sure we're treating everyone with dignity and respect. And then we get that food out to our network of partners. When we talk about partners, we talk about food pantries. So 600 across 26 counties that we serve. And then we also have the programs that we run with our school markets, our food on the move, our farms, all of those ways that we're getting food into the hands of people who need it most.
Incredible.
We were talking about our families earlier and, and back to school things.
Yes.
I know at my son's district, they have a food market and food pantry. Talk about how those school systems, how they're really serving and meeting those families, and how you all support that.
Yeah, so our school market program started a few years ago and really was an opportunity for us to get into schools and build these beautiful markets. So they're in school colors and they have the school logo. The older kids usually run the market, so they learn how to stock shelves and greet people and all of the things. But it really makes it a safe place where families and kiddos can go. So kiddos can go there before school to get breakfast items. Families can shop at these markets at no cost to the families to get the food they need to sustain themselves for the week. So it really destigmatizes the need for asking for help. So instead of saying, oh, did you see Meredith at the market? It's like, hey, Meredith, you want to go meet up at the market? And it's a safe place, and they get other resources. And they can get school supplies and jackets and help with other benefits and other resources that they need. So it's really an opportunity to ensure that all of our kiddos have the chance to thrive and live their best possible lives.
I love that. I know you're smiling, Amber, because you'll feed any living being. We've seen it done.
So I want to know what resources we can help provide, or the community can help provide, that can help you, whether it's through food, volunteering, or even just supporting you in general.
You almost hit my talking points. I call it, we need food, friends, and funds. Right? And so food is community food drive. So they can visit that website, stlfoodbank.org. They can find out how to host a food drive. We will deliver the food drive barrels to you, give you a list of our most needed items to make it super easy. We pick them up at the end. We give you a sheet that talks about your impact, so you know how many pounds of food, how many meals that translates to. We need friends. We talked about volunteers. We can't do this alone. We have a staff of 87 people. 87 people mathematically cannot deploy 50 million pounds of food. It just doesn't work. So we need people to do that. We need people to come out as young as 5 years old as 105. If you're willing and able, come out, volunteer with us at our site or at one of our pantries or one of our distributions. And then funds. right? Not all the food that we get is the food that we need. So we always have to purchase food, right? To make sure it's healthy and nutritious and make sure we're equitably distributing our food across the bi-state region. And so that food is able to go out into our school markets, for example. What's nice is that every dollar we receive, over 96 cents of that goes to our program. So our overhead, our administrative costs are very, very low. And our buying power is much better than my personal buying power. Like when I go to Aldi's or Walmart, it's not that great. It's the same as everyone pays, right? Yeah. But with the food bank and with our resources and with our connections, we can buy pallets for what we can buy carts full.
So I think with our viewing audience, when we think about getting into the end of the year, there are certain times of year when people feel more compelled to give or be a friend or whatever. Are there times of year when you really need the friends or the funds more than others?
Well, as silly as it may sound, hunger doesn't take a holiday. Right? I mean, people think about it, with Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah and end of year. And that's lovely. And thank you. We need it. We appreciate it. And, people are still hungry in January and February. Students are hungry in the summertime because they don't have access to those reduced meals or free meals at school. And so I kind of joke with it, as a veteran, we get a lot of benefits on Veterans Day. I could eat like 30,000 calories, y'all, seriously, for free. But what about the other 364 days? And so the same is with hunger. If people are struggling, they struggle any day of the week, any day that ends in Y. And so why? Well, because we need to make a difference.
Sure. Well, when I hear you talk about the low overhead.
Yes.
But also the minimal staff.
Yes.
And the monumentous task you have. There's a lot of sweat, equity.
Yes, ma'am.
And human effort that is necessary for this to work. So I'm imagining that is among a few challenges. What are some of the challenges that you face in accomplishing these tremendous goals?
Sure. So we can always use more hands, right? Many hands make light work. And so the more people that are willing to come out either to our facility and help us pack food, distribute the food at one of our farms or one of our food on the move locations, those are ways that people can get involved and they feel good about it.
Yeah, we do.
Right? They feel good that they're making a difference in the lives of someone else, right? We always need more food. Right? When we talk about food insecurity, 1 in 7 people in the bi-state is food insecure. And that means instead of saying, what's for dinner is what do we have that we can afford for dinner? Or will we even be able to have dinner tonight? These are very, very different conversations. And obviously the funding helps us do all of these things. It helps us when we need to get more resources. The cost of food is high right now.
Everything.
Right?
But even...
Well, transportation of the food to the places.
Right.
And
it is.
I'm
and so
assuming,
it costs us more to put gas in those vehicles and to get the food. Because if you have transportation as a barrier, you can't drive 30 miles to go pick it up. So that's why our Food on the Move program is our mobile grocery stores on wheels. They are free, right? So there are other organizations that have mobile food distribution. Ours is at no cost, and it's great. They are handicap accessible. People can walk through, pick out the food items. There's refrigerators, there's freezers, there's pet food, there's personal hygiene, all in these wonderful trailers that we have that are traveling quite literally across the bi-state region. But we need food. We need people to help us staff those events.
Like,
how do we do it?
Well, I get it. Hunger doesn't take a break, but we need to take a break.
Well, we'll get that info to people.
That's right. And we're hungry for that info. So but we'll just take this quick break, but please stay with us. When we return, we'll have more with Meredith Knopp, President and CEO of the St. Louis Area Foodbank. Stay with us.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
And welcome back to Let's Talk. We've been chatting with the president and CEO of the St. Louis Area Foodbank, Meredith Knopp. Meredith, the tenacity it must take to pull all of those things together, to hear that your greatest competition is the trash. What is it that you know that it seems that our food waste and our food shortage minds need to know?
Candidly, it's about education. Right? And so people see these labels on their food, Best Buy, da, 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 da. If something is Best Buy today, it doesn't mean it's poisonous tomorrow, right? And so that's the big misnomer. And people will throw things away, right? There's wonderful websites with, food keeper apps and USDA apps that actually will tell you about the extended shelf lives for food. And most food has not months, but years that it can be extended and still consumed and be healthy and safe. It just might, not taste as fresh 5 years later than it did when the day you bought it.
Oh,
but it's still completely edible.
But then you mentioned apps. So now we're talking about the access space and area. So in that education, being keen to learning how that works, and that it doesn't compromise necessarily quality or economic benefit if it's not by that date. But how do we also keep that idea and self-concept of, well, I don't have to have a stigma, but I'm eating old food, or that means I'm eating food that's discarded or trashed. How do you address those?
I think there is a duality there, right? I mean, you want to make sure we're treating people with dignity and respect. And I can tell you that in our household, we have eaten things past the expiration date. My daughter, who's 12, she's like, Mom, this expired last week. I said, honey, it's still fine. We open it, we eat it. It's like, we're good. We didn't turn green. We didn't, everything's fine. And so it's just about dispelling rumors, right? And rumors are rampant in any walk of life about anything, but it's just about education, right? And so that's what I always tell people. If you aren't sure, before you just throw something away, just check. Make sure it will save you money, right? We could all use to save money. Because groceries are expensive. And so why not do better with what we have?
So you take expired food or... Okay, so along that same lines, do you take food from locally grown backyard farmers? Because I have so much produce that I just potato to everyone on my street. So the thing, I bring it to work, I bring it to my neighbors, no one wants it anymore. So I end up throwing either I just threw 3 watermelons to the chickens and
oh, don't do that. We can take care of it.
But how do we get it to you?
Yeah, so we can connect you with the St. Louis Area Foodbank at stlfoodbank.org. We can connect you with one of our pantry partners who's local, probably someone within a few miles of where you live. Would be so grateful to receive that wonderful fresh produce, because that's what we're focused in on, is building a healthy and nutritionally secure Missouri and Illinois. And produce is a great way to do that.
So a lot of the times when I think about food bank, I think, maybe back in the day, everything was canned, everything was boxed food,
ramen noodles.
right? And so even now with the Thanksgiving drives that I participate in, we do a lot of fresh food. How is that healthy component? How do you all make sure the communities and the people that you're serving are also getting healthy food?
So that is a real strong priority at the St. Louis Area Food Bank. We actually are working with an organization on healthy eating requirements, right? Or healthy eating regulations, depending on which one you look up. And so it really is focusing on salt content, on sugar content, even of our canned and boxed produce items, to make sure that we're looking at food as medicine, right? And we're saying if someone is struggling with this, we don't want to give them something that is going to make it worse. Right? Healthy and nutritious foods is huge. We do a lot of sourcing, a lot of work with farmers, especially in Southwest Illinois, right? So we're getting in apples and corn and potatoes and watermelons and proteins and eggs and milk and all of these things that are coming to the food bank that we're then able to distribute to our network of partners, those food pantries, to get it on the tables of people who need it most. Everyone deserves access to healthy and nutritious foods.
Do you do anything seed distribution in the spring so that people can learn how to grow their own food? Or
we don't yet, but maybe we'll start.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good idea.
Speaking of getting food to the table of families, as well as the waste, how much, and to the point of making the best with what we have. I would imagine learning how to cook these things extends that shelf life and value. And then bringing it to the table, just opening up a can. There's so much more that can come with preparing a meal, having a meal together. Do you incorporate those things and why does it matter?
We do. So I think you nailed it. Education is important. If I give you a food item, if I give you an avocado, if I give you beets, and if you're not used to that, if it's not in your normal diet, you're going to look at it and go, psh, trash can. There's my competition, right? So what we do is we have registered dietitians on staff that will do videos, that will do recipe cards, that will show people simple ways that you can prepare these foods. We do them for families. So we want to get the kiddos engaged. I was cooking my daughter since she was 2 years old, right? And so you want to teach those good behaviors when they're young and teach them, if I don't know, how can I learn? And how do you make it tasty? And how do you do it 4 or 5 different ways so it's not the same recipe every time, right?
We've talked a lot about you and the work you do in the St. Louis area, but really, let's get to know, like, what's your favorite thing? Like, what's the thing Meredith likes to do for fun? To feed you and your soul.
To feed me and my soul.
You know?
I serve as the vice chair for the Missouri Veterans Commission, so I'm still very involved in the veterans community. I coach my daughter's softball team, right? I've coached her since 8U, so I have the absolute pleasure of working with these girls and teaching them not only about the sport, but teaching them about life skills and how to be a good teammate, right? And things that will transcend off the diamond, right? I love to travel, and I love just to connect with people and hopefully connect with them in a way that inspires them and really teaches them about the power of perspective and positive perspective. How you view things in life completely changes when you have that positive mindset.
Jamie's all about
talking about that. There you go. We were just talking about that. I always tell people, when you lead with positivity, like other people's actions, I always say, what you say or what you do has nothing to do with me. It's not my business.
No.
And so that positive, I love that. And it also, to me, it fosters the giving spirit and the giving spirit of the food bank and giving spirit that our community needs. Because, like, I really don't see, I know that there's negative things going on, but they really don't enter my realm.
You see what you look for. So if you're looking for, if your perspective is that you're looking for the good things, you'll see the good things.
I'm always looking for snacks, but
I see that's funny. Let's then look at what you may hope for the region and where you would like to see things progress. You've had some success, a tremendous amount of success in community building and innovation, and sounds like even creating community hubs to help one another through the volunteerism. What do you most hope for?
Your next steps? In the way I look at things and the way our team looks at things at the food bank, in a perfect world, we work ourselves out of a job. When someone says, like, you want to be unemployed? I said, I didn't say that.
I doubt you would have nothing to do.
We don't have to need the St. Louis Area Food Bank. That means everyone who resides in the bi-state region has enough healthy and nutritious foods to live their best possible lives, right? And we start with the kiddos, because kiddos don't, get to choose, what family or what zip code they get to start off life, but they all deserve that opportunity, right? And so we want to do that. We want to meet people where they are. We want to educate. We want to inspire. We want to ensure that whatever these kids decide to do when they grow up, they can be the best and they can be happy, and they won't have to worry about something so basic as food. That's a basic right that everyone has. And that's where we are laser focused on ensuring that everyone in the bi-state region has access to the healthy foods, to the culturally appropriate foods, to the medically tailored foods that they need to take care of themselves. And it's really that simple. And that's what drives us every day. Yeah. So every day we leave exhausted, knowing that we made a difference, but knowing that it's still not enough yet. And so that gets us excited, energized to come back and think about how we innovate with Food on the Move, how we innovate with our farms program, and all the ways that we're meeting people where they are with dignity and respect.
Can I toss you one last one?
Sure.
Because there is a lot more work to do, because hunger is a global issue.
It is.
What do you have to inspire? I mean, Captain, you're running a region.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? And you served and work with people who have served in arenas all over the world. What is your inspiration nationally and globally so that we can be out of this job and work on something else?
Well, we're very fortunate at the St. Louis Area Food Bank to be a part of the Feeding America network. So it's a network of 200 food banks across the country that do what we do. So if you're not in the St. Louis area, or you know someone in a different part of the country that's struggling, they can visit feedingamerica.org. They can find a food bank, a food pantry near them. No one should suffer in silence.
That's so amazing, y'all. I had to get that last one in. Meredith, it has truly been a pleasure and an inspiration.
Yeah.
I am so just in awe of what you shared and what you've done. Thank you for joining us today, and thank all of y'all for helping us with this great conversation. Yes. And thank you, St. Louis Area Foodbank, and for what you're doing for our community. To learn more about this great organization, you can visit stlfoodbank.org and stay with us. There's more Let's Talk when we return.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
That made me hunger to learn more.
Okay, I was like, yeah, we talked about.
I don't want to eat because I don't want to waste any food that somebody who really wants something. Plus, I could spare, a rest or two.
Speaking of spare, I really do want to get in touch with her about starting like a seed saver contribution program, because there's so many of us backyard gardeners that we're seed saving, and then we may save 300 tomato seeds, but we're only going to plant 4. So
wait, let me help you out with that. I got our business card right here. Look, I put it.
I love it. Bam!
Yeah.
Woo! Bam, bam. I love that. I love it. I really love the seed program. I think the St. Louis Food Bank has been doing some amazing things in St. Louis, and they really advocate in spaces that you don't expect. Yeah. Like we saw them participate in 314 Day. We've seen them participate in all the different holidays, and even the cultural connection that you talked about. Yeah. That's important. Making sure that families in different cultures and religions have the food that aligns with their dietary needs. I thought that was amazing. Because you're not just giving everybody the same thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that locally sourced, I'm glad you asked that health question about being able to provide quality food, not just what nobody else wanted.
It's not all ramen all day.
Right. But that locally sourced piece, as well as from seeds, keeps it fresh, and they're already ahead of that. You know, that to hear that trash is their greatest competitor is heartbreaking, and it does it over and over again.
Listen, I'm an empty nester, and we're just shopping day to day. You know what I mean? Because it is, and I don't mean to make it about me again and the hunger thing, but it is kind of one of those things where it breaks my heart to throw, like you were talking about, getting rid of watermelons, right? Mm-hmm. Oh crud! This chicken, we didn't cook it within the, and legit, it's not like it's the and we're totally the people who eat after the suggestion.
Yeah, look at the luxury. Look at the luxury that gives you. True, and we're looking for folks that just. Need to be able to put something.
Great point.
Not
I have
even
to look at that
just
site
something.
that
It's
she
a huge
said.
point. Well, that and the network. See, they said she said she has somebody close to you. She says someone you could connect with, you can distribute to. She says we can have someone come pick up the food if you have it. So they've got those aspects covered, but they also need us to help cover it. So,
I think we can all
the
be
inspiration
champions.
part. Yeah, seriously. But that seed program, then teaching and creating a way to continue to grow.
Yeah, because I love sharing how to grow things, and it doesn't take, I can grow things in the worst of dirt, I promise. We just need to, let's look at the soil, let's stick a thing in it. Okay, listen, we're growing beets and carrots here, and we'll repair it.
Then you have a thing or two to share. Well, unfortunately, ladies, I hate to see you go, but we've run out of time again. But thank you so much, Meredith Knopp, for being our guest, president and CEO of the St. Louis Area Food Bank, doing great things. And thank you at home for joining us as well. The show may be over, but you can always find us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube, or just go to stltv.net. I'm Jade Harrell for Amber Clear, Jamie Valentine Dolby, and Ivy Hartman. We'll see you all next time on Let's Talk.
Drippy mic.
I do.
I hate that.
Listen, I went and saw. I know.
Does your mic hang low? Does it?
Does it look like I need a business card or something.
I learn something every day from the boss. Of course, you put a business card over there. But then it's so ready when you got a bang.
There you go. That
Funky
just happened.
Finger Productions in the house.
Yes, let me just get my business card out.